Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I want to talk about some of the top style mistakes that I make or have made, and then how I'm fixing them in order to really enjoy personal style and curate a style that feels really authentic to me. So let's get started. The first mistake I want to talk about is only trying one version of something. So I automatically started thinking about my combat boots that I got recently. They're lace up, they're black, and they've got a chunky sole. And for a while, I had completely outrolled chunkier boots from my own personal wardrobe. And when I thought about why, I remember distinctly a couple years ago, I tried on one pair and it just didn't work for me. So I thought, okay, all chunky boots, all lace up, all combat boots, they don't really fit my style. They don't work with my proportions and my height, so it's not for me. And I realized that that was so incredibly limiting because if I hadn't kept trying them and experimenting, I never would have found the pair that I have now that I absolutely love. So I guess the takeaway that I would share would be to never limit yourself to one version. Try a bunch of different silhouettes, a bunch of different cuts, and even colors and materials within a certain thing. Whether that's a white shirt, a black pair of pants, a black skirt, the list goes on. And then that also extends to styling. So play around with how you're wearing things. Maybe a traditional button down just doesn't work for you. So instead of wearing it the way that you always see people wear it, maybe twist it or tie it in the front. Put it off to the side a little bit and experiment. Roll up the sleeves, pop the collar, and just have fun with it and not feel like anything is off limits. Very similar to that, my next style mistake is never taking risks. And I've talked about this in the past, but I think one of the biggest disservices to personal style and creativity and self-expression is this fear of being judged and this idea that if we take a risk, that's somehow flawed or wrong. And if we try something and it doesn't work out, we should somehow be ashamed of that. There's this rhetoric that I see a lot surrounding old-fashioned photos or photos of ourselves or our parents, and people looking back on those photos and thinking, ugh, gosh, what was I thinking? Why did I wear that? And what I really try to do in my own personal style journey is rework how I view that, and instead always look back on fashion choices that I've made as thinking, oh, I remember trying that and I felt so free, or I felt so like me, or that was such a fun trend to participate in, this particular color was really popular, or whatever it is. And looking fondly on the memories surrounding that, I think it's a really good way to start looking at style and a lot of things in general, but specifically for style, because for me, I found it incredibly liberating. And when you don't feel like there's something that should be critiqued or judged, it eliminates a lot of the pressure and I think makes it a lot more fun. The next style mistake that I want to talk about is repeating the exact same silhouette every single time and getting a little bit too comfortable in what you like to wear. So I talk about this a lot as my style has been evolving because I really love, for example, tailored pants, and specifically I like them with a high waist, I like them with a straighter leg, and I like them with a crop. And I pretty much stick to just that. I don't really go too far out of that. But recently I've been forcing myself to experiment and really have fun and take my own advice. And as a result, I've realized that I really enjoy a couple set basic pieces, but a variance in the silhouette or the color, much like I talked about with the boots at the beginning, can make a really big impact on my style, so that I'm not drifting too far from what I know I like to wear and what I'm comfortable pairing with other things, but I'm still able to enhance my style and change it up and make it feel fresh. So I really recommend that for you as well. If you love, for example, a pair of black pants, try a wide leg, try a longer length, try a cropped length if you never do cropped pants, and just experiment within that and really focus in on your key wardrobe essentials and then go a little bit this way and a little bit that way until you find a couple variations that you can really enjoy. Another thing that I've been working to redo in my personal style journey, and something that I've realized probably in the last year or so, is the power of color, and specifically specifically how color can translate a message beyond the silhouette or the material or even the pattern on something. So I've really been paying more attention to this because I've been experimenting with different colors in my own palette. And for example, today I'm wearing a light colored sweater, and I would typically go for darker colors because I like darker colors. They're practical. I think they go really well with my coloring and everything. And by traditional color theory, really dark navies and blacks tend to work, and I love wearing them. So what I've been doing recently is experimenting with how going in a lighter direction can totally transform how an outfit feels. So this very same sweater that I'm wearing in black, I think would have a totally different vibe, but in this light color, it brings lightness up to my face. It feels a little bit softer. It feels a little bit more ethereal and light and a little bit floaty and dreamy. And I think focusing in on that and really experimenting with how colors interact with each other, and then of course on yourself with your own individual coloring and where you're living, I think is a really, really fun part of style. So another thing that I've been doing within that is taking the colors that I tend to gravitate towards that are a little bit serious and lightening them up and making them a little bit more fun. So things like navy, instead of going for a rich navy, I've been going for a mid blue and something a little bit more vibrant. And as a result, I think it's injecting a lot of needed fun into my wardrobe. So I really encourage that. I think that the last couple years have been really fixated on neutrals and very basic neutrals, things like black, white, and camel. And those are great. Obviously, I love them, but I think injecting some color and some thoughtfully chosen color is the real key to personal style. My next style mistake is following one-size-fits-all fashion advice. This is something that I see everywhere, and I'm sure I have helped perpetuate in some capacity on this channel, because distilling information to the most common denominator and things that are easily digestible is a very easy way to relay information. It makes it accessible for people. It's also something that can easily be copied and pasted into your own wardrobe, and I think that there's value in that to some capacity. But I also think within that, the style mistake happens when we don't take that information and then move it into the customization phase. So for example, if fashion advice that's readily available tends to be have a white shirt, have a pair of black pants, have a pair of ballet flats, and you follow that and you have those in your wardrobe but you never wear them, it might not be that those pieces are not universal, but rather how they're styled, the material they're in, and the overall vibe of that piece is just not working for you and your individual preferences. So something like a pencil skirt, I see pencil skirts recommended everywhere. I have a pencil skirt, but I never wore it. And I've been really trying to work against that. I've got a video coming up about how I'm restyling my pencil skirt. And I've realized that part of the reason why I don't wear it that often is because I was following the styling advice that's readily available and very much a one-size-fits-all approach. So pairing a pencil skirt with a button-down shirt, for example, or a very basic sweater, and never adding something a little bit off-kilter was not working for my personal wardrobe. So since I've redone that, I've been wearing it a lot more, and I've found it a lot more freeing. So I've been going back through my wardrobe and picking out these basic pieces and then trying to really pinpoint why I don't wear them and how I can restyle them so that I do. So I definitely encourage that for you as well. Look for fashion advice that is accessible. Obviously, I definitely recommend that. But then always take it to that customization phase and really make sure you're tailoring things and styling things and reworking them and pairing them with new things to make them feel fresh and relevant to you. My last style mistake is ignoring the power of hair and makeup. So I talked about this in one of my recent videos where I went over my new hair routine, but essentially in that video I talked about how changing up how I was wearing my hair made the rest of my wardrobe feel totally different, and it was the missing piece that I was trying to track down. So I want to really focus in on that for my own personal style and encourage you to do the same, because it's been so great for my wardrobe and just my self self-expression in general. And I hope to make someone else feel that as well, because it's been really liberating for me. So essentially, I wore my hair the same for a really long time. Much like I talked about in my last tip, I was following one-size-fits-all advice and doing things that were working for everyone else, and then feeling like they worked for me, but they weren't perfect. And I realized that I wasn't customizing them. So by wearing my hair in its natural wavy texture, changing how I'm styling it, and just having more fun with it, it's been the missing piece. So I really encourage you to do that as well. There's something so intimidating, I think, about hair and makeup that can make us feel like we need to do the same thing every time. So my hope is that I can help free someone else from feeling that way, because it's been really liberating for me and a really, really enjoyable part for my personal growth, and then of course my style. And there you have it. Those are some of my top style mistakes and how I'm fixing them, and how I'm really leaning into personal expression and personal style and allowing my style to evolve in a way that feels really authentic to me. So hopefully some of these can resonate for you and give you a little bit of a push if you're feeling stuck in any of these areas. So I hope that you liked this, and like always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Have a great day.